Representative Lauren Boebert, Republican of Colorado, reflected on the controversy after she was kicked out of a Denver theater on Sunday, saying the incident has been humbling. Boebert was kicked out of a theater during a production of the Beetlejuice musical for vaping and causing a disturbance. Her office initially denied the vaping claims, but video from the incident appears to prove them. The controversial Congresswoman garnered widespread criticism for her behavior, mostly online. The past few days have been difficult and humbling, and I'm truly sorry for the unwanted attention my Sunday evening in Denver has brought to the community, Boebert said in a Facebook post Friday. While none of my actions or words as a private citizen that night were intended to be malicious or meant to cause harm, the reality is they did, and I regret that. The footage also shows Boebert arguing with security and flipping them off as she was escorted out. A separate video emerged late Friday that also showed the Congresswoman touching her date suggestively in the theater. She attributed part of her behavior to a recent divorce and other personal challenges. I've tried to handle it with strength and grace as best I can, but I simply fell short of my values on Sunday. That's unacceptable, and I'm sorry, she said. I'm deeply thankful to those in the 3rd District who have defended me and reached out this week and offered grace and support when I needed it the most. I've learned some humbling lessons these past few days, but I vow moving forward, I will make you proud, she added. So, it's kind of hard to critique somebody when they admit they did something wrong. I'm not familiar with the laws of that theater. Some places I know won't let you vape in public or whatever. And if that was the case and she did, then they have her dead to rights, as in she was totally out of line for doing that. If that was truly a rule that they had against people being able to do it. It is funny that her office initially was like, she wasn't caught vaping. Don't believe the fake news media. And then right after the video comes out, they're like, okay, she was doing it. But that just shows you that there's still a lot of people who forget that we live in a completely camera era where like every minute place we go to or thing we attend, there's a good chance you're being recorded. So that's just like them having to come to terms with us living in the era of technology filming us everywhere we go. Now, and this is the part that I was most disturbed by, because like, okay, you vaped in public, you flicked off of the people that threw you out. It's kind of a thing I just would give her the benefit of the doubt on, because I can understand where when you go to a public place and you're getting kicked out and you feel like you're being treated unfairly or otherwise not in the way that you would prefer, that you would act a little bit rowdy or not necessarily as professional as all can be. But what was interesting is when that video came out a few days, or excuse me, yesterday, the suggestive video. So it's not the best video quality because it's filmed in this big room and it's got to like do a zoom in effect. But it appears, just from my observations from other people have said in the video, that you can see her. You can see the guy grabbing her. For I'm trying to get the monetized here. Her voluptuous chest melons. And then you can see her like reaching for his banana. And here's the thing. I'm trying to be as fair as I can. In almost every public scenario, I'm against, in general, public displays of affection. Like if a couple is holding hands, okay, whatever. But a lot of times I go to public places and I see people grabbing on each other and staring and smiling and just all the little stuff that's I think is over the top and kind of ridiculous. And I have seen some people who are saying, "Oh, how could she do something so inappropriate?" But I mean, I don't know. I feel like if that theater, okay, so like there's two sides to it. You could say this is inappropriate, shouldn't do something like this in public. But on the other, like the way I'm looking at it is maybe they didn't think people were watching them, because I do think there is something to be said of this only. She didn't get kicked out for public displays of affection or groping or whatever. She got kicked out for the vaping. So I do think this is one of those scenarios where if this incident had never happened, so she just went to the theater and felt on her date or whatever, no one would be criticizing her for doing that. Of course, we wouldn't know about it in that instance, but still, I it's something I wouldn't do because I would always be worried of like, oh man, I don't want somebody to see me trying to grab whatever. But but if no one was looking until they pulled out the tape and they showed her trying to, I don't know, Koopa feel or whatever the term would be. Um, that's where it starts getting a little weirder. So really, in general, I'm glad she apologized. It's very rare for politicians, especially a lot of these right wing ones, to ever admit they're wrong at all, like ever apologize for anything they do or say. Especially when it comes to the words coming out of their mouth. I mean, let's not forget, we still haven't gotten an apology from the Republicans that shouted down Biden while he was giving the State of the Union, which is supposed to be a big no-no on Capitol Hill. But you know, it's one of those things where it's going to be used by people who already don't like her. I'm just glad she at least admitted I could have handled this better, and I do think that matters. So I will continue to think this was kind of funny. More specifically, the video of her like walking out and sticking up the middle finger, and then of course the footage before that where they're doing their little things that should be private but are done in public for some reason events. It's just I just think it's interesting because if you don't like her, you're gonna say, "Oh my God, so nasty, disgusting." If you do like her, you're gonna say, "Oh, you know, it happened." So I'm trying to be fair and not a partisan hack. So it's just one of those things where I just accept it happens sometimes, and I think it is a good thing that she apologized.